What's up, AI Marketing Academy Rockstars? Jason Pantana, and I've got your August 2025 AI Rookies lecture called Claude for email campaigns. We're going to be leveraging the AI, the large language model called Claude, for developing and crafting your email newsletters that you can send to your database contacts, past clients, sphere of influence, leads, your entire CRM directory and database contacts. Imagine leveraging email newsletters that were generated by AI to be able to help you scale your marketing mix and be more top of mind aware, more of the knowledge broker, more of their trusted authority in their inboxes, specifically by leveraging AI to help you scale email marketing. Now, we have AI Rookies and AI Rockstars, as always. The Rookie session is the opening of the topic, and then the Rockstar session builds and goes a little bit layer deeper. Once again, it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means they progress, kind of like a 101 and a 201. So the topic for both AI Rookies and Rockstars this month is your email newsletter. In this session, we're focused really on the best practices of email marketing. We're focused on the contents, what's going to go in your newsletter, and how can AI help you craft that content. And then in the Rockstar session, if you want to go to the next level, you're welcome to do so. The Rockstar session is going to be more into the aesthetics of how do you design the template? How do you make it look like your brand to position you in the minds of all your people in your database? Because we're talking about what I believe is arguably the most important marketing channel of all, and that is email marketing. And I'll give you my thinking on why that is as I open up the slides here for us to dive into our topic, Claude for email campaigns. On the screen, we're looking at some social media stats, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok in particular, and we're looking at worldwide usage of these platforms. And so Facebook, we're looking at, let's convert these 3,270 million to 3.27 billion. So 3.27 billion users worldwide on Facebook. It's big. It's a big deal. It's Facebook. We're looking at YouTube next. 2.8 billion users worldwide. Wow, it's big. Owned by Google. We're looking at Instagram, 2.6 billion users worldwide, and then 1.8 billion users on TikTok. Oh my goodness, social media is so big. We talk about everybody's on social media. It is gotta be the most democratic medium there is in terms of everybody's in it. It's the most ubiquitous. Everybody's using social media, right? But wait, look at this one that comes in the last moment. It's email. Email is the undisputed titan of digital platforms. And it may not be what you expected. You might be thinking, email? Real email? Yeah. Email with the gargantuan 4.6 billion users worldwide. It leaves Facebook, it leaves YouTube, Instagram, TikTok eating its dust. And wait, there's more. If you look at the data here, Facebook, the average user checks their Facebook 2 to 5 times per day. Approximately 30.9 minutes are spent per day in the US on Facebook. Now look at this. YouTube, 2 to 5 checks a day, approximately 48.7 minutes on the app inside of YouTube per day, which kind of makes sense. It's longer form content. It's a little bit longer duration. Instagram, ooh, wow, 3 to 6 checks a day, even more. Ooh, what's going on Instagram? 33.1 minutes a day in the US, approximately. TikTok, 5 to 8 checks a day. That's addictive. Everybody's addicted to their social media feeds. 5 to 8 checks a day. Oh my goodness. Approximately, this is crazy, 58.4 minutes a day in the US. Now, this is why Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are like, we got to catch TikTok, but wait, look at email. 15 to 20 checks a day. 99% of users on email check their inbox daily. 58% is the first thing they do. When they wake up in the morning, they go, and they reach and grab their phones, and what do they open when they do so? They grab their email first. Now, a lot of you might think, I would think they check Facebook first, or TikTok, or Instagram, and a lot of people do, but the majority of people, the first thing they look at every day is email on their iPhones or Androids, whatever they use. Now get this stat. People aged 35 and older spend an average of 5 hours a day using email. Now, yes, this does include time at work, but still, oh my goodness. Given that people are looking at their emails on their mobile devices, on their tablets, on their computers, what an opportunity to meet people where they are. Now, look at me for a second. When you think about marketing, you should be thinking about where is the marketplace to market to my audience. And the marketplace is clearly email. People are using email. You should be thinking right now, am I fully embracing email as the ultimate marketplace channel for how do I reach and communicate with my audience? And if you're not fully tapping into it, This may be the very training that changes that for you, because you all know the magic phrase in real estate marketing. It's this: I see you you're that agent. I see you everywhere. So what I want to introduce to you in your thinking process is email marketing as sort of the connective tissue. It's the safety net. It's the thing that connects all the things. It's the Wi-Fi of your marketing mix. What do I mean by that? A lot of us think about, well, I got to make my videos. I got to make my blogs. I got to make the content. And then email doesn't always get thought of as content, but more or less as a means of distributing my content, sort of the Wi-Fi that broadcasts it out to people. Imagine if you were sending recurring newsletters that were super value packed. They were incorporating your content. They were taking your marketing to your people. How much more top of mind awareness would you have? Now, we're going to talk about this again and again and again, but you are not the only realtor, the only agent that your past clients, your leads, your contacts, your sphere of influence know. And we know that the data is very clear on this. A lot of people say, I'll use the same agent again, and then they don't. What happens? The relationship falls apart because the average person stays in their home for a longer period of time, and it takes more than just checking in every so often to really build a value-add relationship. Think about email as a connection point. What if email was that constant, that pedal tone, that always there, always marketing me, always positioning me to be discovered and thought of by the folks who are in my database, by your CRM contacts? I heard a statistic a while ago that said the average person is inside the CRMs of 10 different realtors. And so the question is, what are you doing to stand out, to be in proximity to every buyer, every seller, every referral, so that you're the one top of mind that they think of as the knowledge broker who they can trust and who they can put to work, whether it's buying, selling, investing, referring, whatever it is. We're going to talk today about email marketing as the ultimate marketplace for delivering your marketing. It's distribution. Now, when you think about email marketing, there's really sort of two sides of that coin. On the screen, you see inboxes and outboxes. And I just kind of gave you cute symmetrical terms to help make this easier to grasp and explain. We're going to go through some email training, and then we're going to get on with the AI aspects of how AI can scale your marketing mix, scale your email. You'll notice here it says MBP, which stands for Mailbox Provider. Mailbox Provider. These are the inboxes that your recipients are utilizing to where you'll be sending your email communications. We're not talking today about one-on-one regular everyday emails. We're talking about what's called mass email or bulk email or email marketing. It all means the same thing. Now, your inboxes, and this is the to whom are we sending your emails, the big players on the table are Apple, Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo. Almost all email. There are some, Thunderbird, there's some other ones out there, AOL, whatever, that people might be using. But most people's email addresses, or I should say it like this, not their email addresses, but the platforms where they're going to look at their emails are Apple, Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo. Apple, Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo. Now, you're probably looking at it, okay, Apple doesn't really, they do have Apple email addresses. I'm looking at this as the email client, the email platform, the mailbox, where they're reading their Gmail or their Outlook address, whatever it is. Apple, whether it's on their Mac or on their iOS device, is the lion's share. Your email has the best chance of being seen by somebody on an Apple device. So 53 to 54% of people who have email accounts, which again was that 4.6 billion number, it's gargantuan, it's bigger than social media, right? They're going to be looking at your emails where? Inside of Apple. Now, Gmail, which is Google, is 26 to 31%. Outlook is 4 to 5%. You're like, oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of people have Outlook email addresses and they don't use Outlook as their email client to manage their inbox. They're managing it like an Apple Mail or something like that. Outlook, and then Yahoo is 2 to 3%. These are the estimates in the marketplace of who's got what and where are they accessing their email. So the first thing we're going to be thinking about is the inboxes. That's sort of like the target. If this is bows and arrows, that's the bullseye. Where are we delivering our emails to? We're delivering them to Apple, Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo. We got to optimize to get them there so they end up in the right tab. They don't get in a spam folder and stuff like that. These are the inboxes. Second side of the coin is outboxes, which is sort of a term I've adopted. The proper term here is the ESP, the email service provider. So it's sort of like there's a tale of two castles or towers. There's mailbox providers, which is Gmail, Apple, Outlook, Yahoo, and then there's email service providers The service providers send the emails for advertisers to all the users who are inside of these inboxes. Your email service providers include platforms like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, Sendinblue, Aweber, Constant Contact, GetResponse, Flowdesk. Another big one is SendGrid. A lot of you may not know you're using SendGrid. So for example, if you're using Follow Up Boss and you do the batch email option where you grab a list or whatever and you send a mass email to all of them, you're actually doing that with SendGrid. There's a partnership Follow Up Boss has with SendGrid. Lofty has the same partnership. So does KV Core. And so those mass emails are actually going through a SendGrid server. They're helping power this mass email. So a quick little interpretation here. We're not talking about one-on-one emails. We're talking about one-to-many emails, meaning I'm going to send my email newsletter to my entire list of contacts, my CRM data. Now, as far as providers are concerned, pick your favorite. Could be MailChimp, HubSpot, any of these on the screen. This isn't a recommendation for any of those. I do a lot of work with MailChimp. They're pretty standard. A lot of you are probably using SendGrid. We're going to get into some limitations more in the Rockstar session in terms of which ones can do what, but that's on the more technical side of things. Now, as we get into our training today, there is some key terminology you're going to want to be aware of, and this is designed to bring you up to speed to make sure you're prepared to be an effective email marketer. I'm going to hit these terms pretty quickly for us. They're going to be in the slides. You can look at them later. I'll link the slides in the show notes below this specific training on the page for you. So the first is permission. We're going to only email people who've opted in. Depending upon what part of the world you live in, you might be governed by different laws. Canada has slightly different laws than the USA. Europe has a little bit more stringent laws than the USA. So when it comes to opting in, make sure you know the law of your land when it comes to sending out email communications. The idea here is permission-based marketing. I'm not going to bait and switch people. I'm not going to go buy an email list and start emailing them a newsletter. That's considered cold email. And this isn't a training on cold email. There is a way to do cold email. But my focus here is, oh, you're that agent. I see you everywhere. Think of email marketing, email newsletters as the connective tissue. It's that steady beating drum that just keeps you top of mind and in the inboxes, i.e. the biggest, most gargantuan titan platform there is of all platforms. It's designed to keep you top of mind, to position you as the agent of choice. To who? To your leads, your contacts, sphere of influence, past clients, those folks, your warm audiences. So we're talking about, so mostly like permission is sort of implied because we're talking about your CRM data. These are likely leads you've generated or earned in some way. These are likely contacts who've opted in to receiving your communications. The next term I want you to know is authentication. This is more of a, I'll link to this in the notes below, but it is important if you're doing mass emails, you're going to want to make sure that you have the right authentications. I'm not going to try to bore you to tears with what authentications are. Just suffice it to say this. There is this battle between inboxes and outboxes. Who are the inboxes? That is Gmail, that is Outlook, that is Yahoo, that is Apple. And their job is to ensure that their users, i.e. your recipients, are receiving emails they actually want to get in their inboxes. And so the battle of the outbox, that's the MailChimp, the Constant Contact, the SendGrid. The battle here is getting your email to get through the gates and fortresses of these mailboxes. So it's inboxes, Gmail and so forth, versus outboxes, MailChimp. And so authentication really, really helps because what it says is, hey, MailChimp's a reputable company and they're vouching for you. There's some authentication layers to make sure that you are who you say you are, which gives these inboxes like Gmail, like Outlook, etc., greater confidence that you're a legit advertiser and they should indeed let your email pass through their gates into the inboxes of their recipients. Now think about this. On your CRM database, you might have 1,000 contacts. And it could be that maybe 500 of those contacts are accessing your email inside of Apple Mail. It could be that 200 are Gmail. It could be that 100 are Outlook. And so Outlook only cares about the users on your list who have Outlook. Gmail only cares about the users on your list who have Gmail. And so you have to look at your list and kind of get a feel for which of these inboxes matters the most. Who do I really need to optimize for? I've given you the averages, but just a simple thing you can do, and you can research this or just have ChatGPT help you figure out how to do it on your mailbox. It's not that difficult, it is to get authentications. There are three big authentications that matter. One is called SPF, which is like sunblock, basically. One is called DKIM, and one is called DMARC. These are the big three that you want to get. They verify your identity, they secure your message delivery. They're going to help make sure that the emails I'm going to help you make, my focus today is on helping you make the emails. But as a best practice, if you want to get better deliverability, what is deliverability? Deliverability means getting my email in their inbox. That's deliver. It got delivered. It didn't go to spam. It didn't bounce. It made it. It made it to the end zone, so to speak. Authentication is a great way to go. Next on the list, you're going to want to get your domain verified. So like my domain is jasonpantana.com. I send emails from jasonpantana.com. And so I use MailChimp. And so going through MailChimp, all the major email service providers, again, MailChimp, Constant Contact, all these providers, they give their users, their members, I'm a member of MailChimp, they give us the ability to verify our domains where they'll tell you how to do it. It's technical but easy. You literally follow their steps. But another homework assignment I want to give you is get your domain verified. It's going to help your deliverability. Not the focus of my training today. We're talking about AI, but I'd be remiss if I sent you out there to do all this email marketing and didn't give you the basics of what it takes to make sure you're on these platforms strategically and intelligently and compliantly. Next is reputation. Reputation is your domain's history and sender score, and it helps determine if you're going to make it to an inbox or a junk folder, a spam folder, or something like that. Your reputation, though, it's based on really there's like a marriage, so to speak, when it comes to reputation. It's your domain's history of compliance. Have you been reported spam before? Has anybody complained about your website before? Have you had some problems in your history of sending mass emails before? And then the other spouse, I guess you could say, or partner in this marriage of reputation is the server from which you're sending the email. Well, do you have any control over the server? And the answer is no. The server is owned and operated by your email service provider. That's MailChimp. That's Constant Contact. And so I got to tell you something. You get what you pay for. I've seen a lot of folks who they use the CRM's mass email function, and they've got some kind of a partnership and a freebie account with like one of the tools, one of the email service providers. And unbeknownst to them, that email service provider is only sending emails from the junk drawer server. It's the freebie accounts server, which means you're basically being grouped in with all the other people doing email marketing from the same server, and they may be spamming their faces off. And if they get complained upon, it reflects negatively on the server, which then reflects negatively on you. So there's sort of a guilty by association possibility here. So I want to say it like this. You get what you pay for. It's, in my opinion, with email marketing being the biggest marketing channel of all marketing channels, bigger than social media, it is worthy of an investment, especially when you consider AI coming behind you to help you scale up your email marketing. It's worthy of an investment in a good provider, like a MailChimp, like a SendGrid, but like an actual membership with them kind of a thing, because the servers you send from, they can rub off on you and give you a negative reputation. All right, enough on that. We're going to keep on moving through the things I want you to be aware of. This is just a quick hits FYI. Number 5 is what are called feedback loops. I should have added the word loops here to the slide. Feedback loops. So our mailbox providers, who are our mailbox providers? Again, Gmail, Apple, Outlook, Yahoo. They have what are called feedback loops. You could literally do a Google search for Yahoo feedback loop, Google feedback loop. Google calls theirs Postmaster tools. And you would enroll yourself as a marketer, and that way, if anybody sends a report, like if you get marked as spam, you're going to be the first to know about it, and you can actually work with those mailboxes to make it right, so that you don't get basically blacklisted for all your future emails. Because here's what happens. If you have an email list of, again, 1,000 contacts, and a bunch of them are using Gmail, and enough of them start marking, this is spam, I didn't want this, well, then Gmail is going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're taking this away from everybody on Gmail. So usually when you start running into deliverability issues with email, it's not like deliverability issues on every major mailbox. It's like our Hotmail's no longer delivering. It's because Hotmail blacklisted you basically. And so what do you have to do? You have to enable what are called feedback loops to try to get that right. Now, this may not be for you. You may be like, I don't have any kind of a bad reputation, but a lot of you, I understand, in this industry, real estate, it is not atypical that you've probably hired some email marketing service that said they do it all for you, and they put you on the junk drawer server and they ruined your sender reputation, and now your open rates are abysmal. You can't get an email to land in an inbox to save your life. It could even be so bad that it's actually impacting your ability to deliver your regular emails through your actual email. For example, I've seen real estate agents who they send their mass email from their same email that they send their regular everyday emails through. And so it gets so tainted because of all that reputation. Like if they go send hey, my buyer wants to make an offer on your property, that email to that other agent can land in a spam folder because of all this negative reputation. So know who you are as you're watching this right now. This may be for you. This may be a good note for the future, but your reputation really matters. One of the ways you can repair a negative reputation is what are called feedback loops. Set them up with the major mailboxes. Number six term is engagement. Mailbox providers are tracking, and also I should say mailbox providers and ESPs, that is email service providers. The mailboxes are Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo. The email service providers are MailChimp, etc. And they're all tracking clicks and opens and replies. And the higher the activity, it boosts the placement. What does that mean? Well, that means if you got 1,000 people on your email list, and again, let's say that a couple hundred of them are Gmail and they're inside of Gmail is paying attention like a hawk. They're watching, okay, of all the recipients on this advertiser's email list, 200 of them are our people. And we're noticing that they really like this sender's emails. They're clicking them, they're replying to them, they're taking action on them. Let's take this email out of our users' promotions tab and put it into the main inbox of Gmail. And so you got to start thinking about your email marketing like, I'm trying to win over the mailboxes. There's 4 big mailboxes. It's Apple, Outlook, Yahoo, and Gmail. I got to win them over because most of my users are in there. And if I can get my Gmail users to engage, if I can get my Outlook users to engage, a few engagements is going to actually improve the deliverability of your email for all the other Gmail users, all the other Outlook users in those inboxes to avoid promotions tab, which means let's make a mental note of this, because what it means is we have to craft emails that are worthy of engagement. What kind of engagement? I want people to click stuff. I want them to open the emails. I want them to reply to your emails. Start thinking about, well, if I was going to reverse engineer an email that generated this type of engagement, what would I do? Well, I would tell AI that's what I want to do and then prompt it accordingly. Hopefully you're following my line of thinking here. I know that this is a little bit more than just AI, but I want you to be skilled in understanding the marketing channel so you know how to put AI to work. Number 7 is sender name. This is in the inbox. If I go to my inbox and I see all my emails, this is who it says it's from. And a big mistake is a lot of you say it's from marketing at so-and-so. Nobody is going to click to open that. It should be your name. And so, for example, use a clear, recognizable from name. You're able to, when you're sending out a mass email through a MailChimp, through any of these platforms, it asks you, who is this email coming from? You could say it's coming from Harry Potter. You could say whatever you want to say. It's an alias. I would recommend you use the name that has the most affinity with the audience to whom you are emailing. Don't make it seem like it's safe to ignore. Make it come from you, because a personal name is always more trustworthy. You could say, like, if my emails from AI Marketing Academy come from Jason Pantana, AI Marketing Academy. But I make them come from me because I'm the one you know when it lands in your inbox. Okay, number 8 is personalization. Tailor emails with what are called merge tags to boost relevance and reduce spam risk. If somebody says the word Jason, if I overhear the name Jason anywhere I'm going, I'm going to perk up. Why? Because that's my name, and I respond to the name Jason. When you put the recipient's name in your emails, hi Sharon, hi Jared, they can't help themselves but to perk up and respond because you just said their name, which is going to then keep them on your email for longer. It's likely going to keep them reading. Personalization is super powerful, and email service providers have for years offered what are called merge tags. You may or may not be familiar with these. You might even have done like a mail merge in Microsoft Word for a mailing you did years ago, where it can replace, like you have a spreadsheet, and here's all their first names, and it can drop in their first name, their last name, their address, so you can print off labels for a mass mailing for like Christmas cards or something like that. It's the same basic idea. You have a list of recipients inside of your email service provider. That's who you're going to mail to. It could be Sphere, leads, contacts, whoever's on your list. Remember, permission. And they likely have first names. Well, you can create conditional personalization where I'll show you how to do this. We're gonna have AI do it, where it's like, hey, if this person has a first name in my list of recipients, then I want you to say hi first name, comma. If they don't have a first name, just say hi or say hi there. And so we're going to actually have AI create personalization where it's automatic for all your users. Believe it or not, you can even say to AI, hey, I want you to actually fix the case. A lot of the people on my list, for some reason, they put their names in all caps. Can you make it right and put it in a proper casing? And AI can help you craft a merge tag for your email service provider that does that, whether it's MailChimp, Constant Contact, could be SendGrid. They're all a little bit different, but AI can do it all for you, and I'm going to give you the prompts coming up. We're just going through what you need to know about email marketing to leverage this platform. Number 9, I have a note about subject lines. I think you already know this. You know that subject lines are mission critical important. However, you should always write the subject line when? Last. After the content is ready. Why? So that it's the most compelling. Because after you're going to know when the email's done, ooh, that's juicy. Craft the email based upon that. You should do the subject line last, and you should be aware that email providers offer what's called pre-header text. Sometimes they call it preview text, where it supports the subject line with a short preview that adds context. So think about whatever client you use to view emails. It might be like Apple Mail. Typically, you'll see who's the email from, you'll see the subject line, and then it's sort of a faded text. It's not as bold. You'll see like a couple of lines of description that sort of reinforce what this email's contents are. That's called preview text. This is the mistake I want you to avoid. Listen up really close. If you do not specify preview text in a mass email, it may automatically default preview text for you, and I don't think you want that, because what it might do, depending upon your email service provider, is it might put the unsubscribe preferences in the pre-header text. I wonder if you've seen this before. You see an email with a juicy subject line, and then that little preview text. We're still in the inbox. We haven't actually opened the email yet. In the inbox, that little preview text that's beneath the subject line, when you're deciding as a viewer, do I want to open this email? It might even say to update your subscription preferences, click ... and then your iPhone runs out of screen root. You can't read anymore because it ran out of screen space, but your brain goes delete automatically because you're like, this is marketing. And if it's marketing, to quote Dan Stewart, our good friend, if it looks like marketing, it is safe to ignore. Preview text or pre-header text supports your subject line. Now, these are the terms I want you to know. Okay, we're going to switch gears, and we're going to jump over to my Google Chrome, and we're going to look at the resources inside the Academy. We have a resource here called Plain Text Email Newsletter Generator. Now, I told you earlier, this session is mostly focused on the contents of your email newsletter. The Rockstar session is going to be more about the design and aesthetics. You don't need the Rockstar session if you don't want it. This is designed to be like a 101 level versus a 201 level. So they sort of layer or build on top of each other. As always, the resources explain first what this resource is and how to use this resource, and it has a whole bunch of Claude instructions in here. I wanna just peek at this together. We're gonna be making what's called a Claude project. When you see the word project is kind of like a file folder. Think about a file folder on your desktop. You put files in it that belong in that folder because they share commonalities. Well, we've talked about projects inside of ChatGPT. You could literally do a ChatGPT project instead of a Claude project and change nothing about what I'm sharing in this resource. It is entirely your prerogative. If I could be candid and honest with you, why am I using Claude today? I find Claude to be slightly better than ChatGPT at analyzing data, and there will be some data analysis in here. And also, ChatGPT just released their GPT-5 model, which has been a little bit finicky when it comes to following instructions. And so to sort of insulate, this is a lot of steps in this. We're going to use a Claude project today. Moral of the story, if you want to use a ChatGPT project, knock yourself out, not going to be offended. It's literally no different. If I go to Claude, you need to enable a few features. So I'm logged into Claude.ai. I clicked on my little JP down in the corner here. And then I'm in my settings under features. You want to toggle all three of these on. You want to toggle on the artifacts, and then under experimental, the create AI powered artifacts, and then the analysis tool. You're going to need all three of these turned on, and these are available for whatever subscription level you have. Could be free, could be their pro account, which is $20 a month. That's what I use. Could be their max account, which is quite a bit more expensive, and I don't use that. So turn these on so that you have access to it. If you're in ChatGPT, all you have to do is when you're logged in is click on the sidebar, and you're going to see under your GPTs, I have many GPTs, you're going to see projects, and you would just click new project, and then you could name it, and then you would repurpose my instructions there. Okay, now let's go back to the resource here, and we're going to look. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and show you. We have in the prompt block here, you'll simply click copy to copy the contents of these instructions for this project to your device's clipboard, because you're going to go make a project. Projects cannot be shared, they are for you. So I'm sharing the instructions to make the project, and you should have to change anything. You're welcome by all means to read this. I mean, look at it, it's pretty darn thorough. You're welcome to look at it and make whatever changes you want, but I'm telling you right now, if you just want to click copy and paste, it's designed for that. It's literally turnkey for you. Now, back to our resource here. If you look at the how to use this, it tells you to copy the instructions. It tells you how to turn on the artifacts and analysis toggles that I already showed you. It tells you how to create a new project. You're going to look at that. You open up Claude. You tap the left-hand sidebar. You click projects. You choose a new project. I'll walk you through it. I go to Claude.ai. I'm logged in. I click over here where it says projects. I click new project, I name it, I describe it, I create it. And then once it's created, let's go look at the one I've already made for our demo today. I will see it like this one I called plain text email newsletter generator. And then here's my description text. I said creates scannable plain text or lightly, let me zoom in for you here on this, if I can. Creates scannable plain text or lightly formatted newsletters for real estate pros, adapts to your email platform's capabilities, and delivers copy-ready content you can paste directly into your ESP. What's an ESP? Stands for email service provider. I'm talking about MailChimp, Constant Contact, those platforms. So this is my name, and this is the description that I wrote. You can do whatever these things here have absolutely no bearing on how this project performs. This is just for you. You could call it gumdrops or tasty, and it won't make a difference in terms of how the project performs. Now, let me zoom out so I can show you more. You have your little ellipses. This is your action menu. You can edit details, archive it, or delete it, of course. You can star the project to keep it handy. You can start a chat within the project. Remember, think about a project as basically a file folder. It stores the contents of, it stores chats, that is, that are under the jurisdiction of whatever knowledge you provide to it. And then it keeps all your chats down here. We haven't had any chats on this one. We're going to do one together. It keeps them all down here so you can come back to them again and again and again. Now, over here in this little box here, you can see it outlined. There's two parts. We have, let's zoom in. We have instructions and we have files. Files allow you to add PDFs, documents, and other text to reference in this project. The project we're making together does not require any files. I've put everything inside the instructions. However, I want you to be aware, you could give knowledge. You could give examples of past written newsletters you really liked. You could give spreadsheets, you could give SOPs, documents, PDFs, whatever you think could enrich its understanding. But the same lesson here applies as to what we talked about a few months ago. We talked about this with ChatGPT projects and with ChatGPT custom GPTs, that whatever knowledge, or in this case, files, you give to your project or your custom GPT, you must make reference to them in the instructions. Otherwise, you run the risk that the project may not understand why it has certain files. It needs to understand this purpose and scope and when to look at those files and how to consider them in the context of your instructions. It's all about the instructions. The instructions are right here in this resource. You click copy, and then over here, I'm going to click my pencil to edit my instructions, and you're going to see there are the very same instructions in here verbatim for what you have access to inside of the page I was showing you that I'll link to down below where you're watching this video, so you can just make your own. It's literally log into Claude or ChatGPT, make a new project, name it whatever you want, describe it however you want, whatever's useful for you, and then you copy and paste my instructions, and then bam, you're ready to get to work. So with that being said, let's attempt to get to work. I'm gonna say, let's build an email. I could say whatever I want. I'm just going to initiate a chat. Go. All right, and it's going to consider its knowledge that is limited to the instructions. Remember, I gave it no additional files. It's just the instructions. And it's going to walk through a specific series of questions. Now, if you look here, I'm not going to bore you with this, but you're welcome to look at it. You're going to see how this is structured. Phase 1 is the intake phase. Select which sections you want to include. Phase 2 is the build phase. So the way I've engineered this project to work is the AI is going to ask you a bunch of questions to elicit from you what content you want in your email, and then it's going to build them for you according to my instructions and specifications. So here's intake. We're looking at it here. So look at this. Ask these questions in a regular chat. Let's see if what I told it to ask is consistent with what it asked. It is. Look at that. It's asking the questions that my instructions told it to ask. If you want to modify the instructions to make it ask different things, like what's your favorite ice cream flavor, you could do that, and it would. Its job is to hold any chat within this project to the standards and instructions and rules laid out in the knowledge section that I showed you. Once again, that knowledge section was that little section to the right where you could add files and then the text written instructions that I gave you inside your resource. Okay, let's look at the first question. First, which email service provider are you using? This helps me format the output correctly with the right merge tag. So what it wants to know this for is, if it says hi first name, whether you use SendGrid or MailChimp or Constant Contact matters, because it may need to make that different for you. So I'm going to just say for here, 1, MailChimp, okay? And then 2, it says, whoops, a little extra there. It says, next, which sections would you like me to include in your newsletter? And you might be thinking, okay, so it seems like this newsletter is sort of hard-coded for specific sections, and it is. Let's jump back over to our slides. These are the sections that are built into this project for you. An opening message, this is the big idea. It's like, hi, Jane, the thing I want you to know is, bam, and it's gonna be the big idea. A market snapshot, which is not a full market update, but it's a quick snapshot where it does have the ability for us to provide it with MLS data. Maybe you're like, well, I don't really want to give it MLS data. That's okay too. You can just give it a URL. Like if you have a link to somebody's video or somebody else's market update or whatever, or a Zillow page or something like that, or a screenshot even, like you could literally go into your MLS. Maybe your MLS has sort of canned stats. You could screenshot it and then drag it and drop it into your chat. This project is ready to create a market snapshot based upon whatever data you give to it. A screenshot could be copied and pasted text from an email. It's ready to be versatile to build a market snapshot. Again, a market snapshot is a very light version. This is not a market update email. This is a newsletter. Featured listings, if you have any. Latest content, if you want to drive traffic to a blog or a YouTube video or an Instagram post or all three, it's prepared for that. Community spotlight, if there's a local happening or a local business that you want to give the spotlight to, there's a section for that. And then last is some type of a call to action. What are they to do next? These are the 6 sections that it anticipates. You don't have to use them all. If you look over here once again at our actual Claude conversation, it says, which sections would you like to include in the newsletter? And I could say 1, some, or none. I'm going to say all of them, and in that order is fine. And then it's going to take that information in, it's going to digest it, it's going to look at its instructions, and take me to the next step. Okay, so this is the intake process. It's following the instructions that you have given it, which I have given you right over here. So it's going to ask you for your signature information. who's sending this email, your brokerage name, your phone number, your email address, your website, your social media handles. Give it as much as you want. Give it some, give it all, and it's going to take that into consideration when it builds your email. Then it's going to ask you content for each respective section. Salutation and opening thought. It's asking, what's the opening message, insight, or recommendation you want to lead with? You could say, hey, it's been a really hot summer. See if there's any rebates or incentives on redoing attic insulation or energy efficient things in the state of Tennessee, and then write that up. And it could literally do the research for you and then write about the topic. I could even say, and write it the way that J.R. Tolkien would write it, and it will then write like J.R. Tolkien. It's ready to follow your commands. I don't have to feed it the word for word copy. I can just send it on a scavenger hunt, and it can go find the stuff I'm looking for and write it the way I want it to write it. Market snapshot is our next section, and it says, I'll need your data source, your link, or specific market numbers. Again, however you want to get this is entirely your prerogative. If you want to run a search on MLS and screenshot it, if you want to pull the numbers that your board of realtors emailed you and screenshot it and then just drag and drop the screenshot in, you can do that. Or you can download MLS data. However you want to provide it with numbers, it's going to base its market snapshot off of your numbers. What market data do you want to highlight? And where should I pull information from? I won't fabricate any market statistics. I have hard-coded this sucker. It should not make stuff up. It should base its analysis only off of what data you give to it. Next section is featured listings. What properties do you want to feature? For each one, I'll need address and listing description. And it doesn't have to be a formal listing description. It could just be like, hey, it's 123 Banana Street. It's a 3-bed, 2.5-bath bungalow on a street with sidewalks. And it could just work from that. Are there any key features or selling points? You can give it this information or not. It's going to fill it in however it thinks it needs to. You can link to the listing. If you want to drive traffic to your IDX page on your website, or if you have a featured property page for that listing on your website, give it the URLs. Just sort of copy and paste them in to your chat, and it will have that. Latest content. What recent content do you want me to share? And then for each item, it's like title, brief description, link. You could just say, here's a link to an Instagram video where I talked about X, Y, and Z. Here's another link to an Instagram video where I talked about A, B, and C. And then it can grab the links so that it knows where it's going to drive people to if they click on that link in your email. And then it can sort of riff about whatever the essence of that particular post was. Next is community spotlight. What local business, event, or community happening do you want to highlight? What do you want readers to know and do? Or you could just say like, I don't know, can you see if you can find a good one? And then see what it comes up with. This is an AI that you're talking to. And then last is the primary call to action. What's the main call to action, and where should it link people to click on? If they click on it, where should it take them to? Feel free to share these details in whatever order works for you. It's prepared for you to just sort of do a stream of consciousness or go line by line, but you're going to fill in all the information of what you want, and then it's going to leave the intake process, and it's going to move into the build process, and it's going to craft the email for you. Now, during the lab, we'll build a bunch of emails together. For now, I'm going to show you one that I created ahead of time just to make this move more quickly. I am inside of my MailChimp account, and I'm using a very simple text-only template. There is a lot of research and data that debates, are emails better when they're just straight text or when they have like branded elements? And I got to tell you, it's sort of 6 one way, half dozen another. It's sort of this tug of war of evenly matched polling. I think it really boils down to, what do you want your brand to be? What do you want to do? If you're interested in designing beautiful branded email newsletters, fantastic. I'm going to get into that in the AI Rockstar session, which is also the August training this month for the Rockstars. But if you're like, this is great for me, I'm good with this, text only, and I just copied and pasted, and then I just send my email on whatever platform I'm using to the list of recipients that I have permission to market to. And so you'll see it has our merge tag here at the top. And the way this works is it says, if there's a first name, use their first name, or else just say hi. So it's like hi, first name, or something like that. Okay. And then it says, and this is different, whether it's MailChimp or whether it's Constant Contact or whatever platform you use. I didn't come up with it. I just told it I'm using MailChimp, and then it does it because it follows its instructions and it's AI. So don't get yourself like, I don't know what it means. Just copy and paste. It's gonna write your email, copy, paste. And then it breaks down to an opening thought, a market snapshot, based upon I fed it MLS data for this, so a market snapshot. Gave some good stats here. Featured listings. I used a townhouse I used to own years and years and years ago. It's not really on the market. Latest content. This links to one of my Instagram videos. Here's another Instagram video. Community spotlight. I don't even know. I talked about the Tom Ferry Success Summit that's coming up next week at the time I'm filming this. And then a CTA before you go. And then it's a schedule a consultation, and then it puts my information there at the very bottom for you. And so this is an example of a plain text email newsletter. And here's what I want you to think about. How quickly could you start to turnkey these? How easy is it to make a newsletter and to write the contents when all the work was in the instructions you provided to the project, and all you have to do is answer a few questions as if you're filling out a form, and then bam, bam, bam. You're sending emails that are working for you on the most utilized marketing channel there is. If you're not leveraging email marketing, I think you're missing out on a big opportunity to create massive exposure for your brand and crazy consideration for your services. Now, one more note before we wrap up our session today. Let's jump back into the slides. How frequently should you send these emails? Like, what's the appropriate cadence for sending out a mass email marketing newsletter to your database contacts? And I want you to read this with me. Sending emails too frequently can lead to higher unsubscribe rates, while infrequent emails may result in lower engagement. Let that sink in for a little bit. If I email you ad nauseum, you're gonna be like, go away and unsubscribe. But if I never email you, I'm not warming up your inbox. So if it's Gmail, if it's Outlook, if it's Apple, I'm not a familiar house guest to those mailboxes, nor are you used to seeing me in your inboxes. I can't gain priority in your inboxes, meaning getting out of the promotions tab and into the main feed, the main tab, for instance, because nobody's engaging with emails that I never sent. And so it's this sort of moderation principle where it's like, not too many, but not too few either, because there's sort of tension on either side of the spectrum. Here's a good read for us, OmniSend, talking about timing and frequency, and this is 2025. Too many or too few frequent emails can frustrate your recipients, and inconsistency can cause a drop in engagement rates, which is what we just said. Most marketers consider between 1 and 3 weekly emails to be the golden standard for maintaining good open rates. And you may be thinking, like, I just choked on my water. 1 to 3 emails a week? Well, hold up for a second. I want you to consider a few principles. 1, you may not want to do 3 newsletters a week. In fact, I would not advise it. But you may be sending a market update email. You may be considering other types of emails that go in addition to your newsletter. I'm going to tell you weekly. You should send a weekly newsletter. That's going to be the right cadence. It's not too much. It's not too little. It keeps you top of mind. We know that email is ultimately the channel that is most utilized by everybody everywhere. And so we need to be there. That's the marketplace. You market in the marketplace, and that's where it is. But the other caveat is, like I said before, the average consumer is inside the CRMs of 10 different agents. And so what are you doing to make sure that you are the top of mind, that you are the agent of choice? I think a good weekly newsletter is the way to go. And with that, I cannot wait to see you in the upcoming lab. We're going to break through these instructions and the projects, answer your questions, and turn you into the ultimate email marketer. Thank you so much for being a part of this academy. I'll see you coming up soon on the lab.